Welcome, everybody. Sorry we are a minute late, but while we are getting people loaded on all the streaming platforms, let us know where you're tuning in from. All right, so let's go. And
yeah, we're live on that one. And David, you do have to hit. I think Brian said
I gotta go live.
You gotta go live.
Gotta go live.
We're doing it live.
Look at this. Did you guys see these ornaments?
Oh yeah.
How cute are those, huh?
I just have to assume that you pulled that from the top of your Christmas tree just to show it on camera because
I did. Hold on. Look, let's see here. See, right there. See, there it is.
Oh, there it was. Yeah, top of the tree. I'm sure that was the number one ornament you had.
Actually, I didn't. It was actually hanging from the chain around my neck. I took it off right before we started, though. But I'll put it right back on when we're done.
I don't know if I told you that.
Gold plate ornaments, and that makes it. No, that's
yeah. There you go.
I don't know if I had told you that, but we had gotten the other Christmas tree that we put upstairs, and Kristen wanted to decorate that like her old fashioned kind of tree, right? So with the candles and the ribbons and all that, and not the ornaments like we have on this Christmas tree back here. And I put the wooden Seelbach ornament on that, and she's like, "What did you do? What did you put on this tree? That's not what this tree is for." And yet it has remained there.
Made out of wood, and it's super fancy. And yeah, I don't know why she.
You know what? What would have been funny? I just opened this up. This was sitting in my office, and obviously I've seen 1,000 of these, which we'll get into. But I hadn't opened this specific box. Right, it was the one that was given to me. It was my gift, and I opened it, and I thought how funny it would be if all these were empty. Like if this was just a joke.
Oh no,
it's entirely possible, but it was not empty.
David, you thought you were going to fill your own, so here's an empty box, and
oh, that was good. Look at that, the effects.
And Brian has been sitting on those things since the beginning, and he has been dying. There we go. For those joining us tonight, this will be a fun episode. There is a lot to dive and go through, and I feel like this is more of just like a Seelbach conversation more than just the Advent calendar tasting, just because of the long history, the rich history of Seelbach and Manifest and everything going on. So it will be a fun one for those who decide to tune in, and we understand it's December 22nd. People have a lot of things going on, but I'm excited for this one.
Here's my question. This isn't my podcast, but I'm going to try to hijack it the entire night. So buckle up, fellas. What were you guys doing like 20 minutes before you got on?
Oh, building a fire and yelling at my kids not to stick barrel staves into the fire. Is that not what everyone was doing? Is that?
I'm pretty close. Brian, how about you?
I've been admittedly drinking Manifest Rye for the last 40 minutes, and I was researching camera bags. So my kids are already down. The dog is down. My wife is down. Everyone is down. And so
these are all. I hope you didn't put them down.
Yeah.
These are all acceptable answers. I was locked in my bedroom wrapping Christmas presents
That's right.
because it's the only time you can do that, apparently.
You don't want to do any of this live on air?
The Christmas presents?
Keep wrapping while we're doing this. I mean,
listen, I would be in less trouble later if we could do that.
I had to do all that yesterday.
Yeah, I've seen live streams with much more boring activities that get like millions of views, and I'm like, how are they getting all of these views? And this guy's just sitting there doing nothing. Maybe that's our trick. It's like, hey,
guys, if you want David to be wrapping Christmas presents live on air, I need you to comment, and we'll flash them on screen. And if David, what do you say? How many comments do we need to get to for you to actually start wrapping?
Oh my God. Let's see. I don't know what we should be predicting in terms of volume. 10? Okay, 10. I'm going to go with 10. I'm going to go with Blake's.
All right, if we get 10 comments across, so again, check your Instagram. I got 2 Instagrams loaded here. Blake's got an Instagram loaded, and then we've got the YouTube one. But again, if you want to see David wrapping his children's Christmas presents live through this conversation, you're going to have to comment, let us know. And we'll see what happens.
And mainly, I didn't want to bring this joke out so early, but David's wife Nina was my first troll on the internet because, and I'll back it up just to give a little context. Me and David have been friends for a long time, and I'd start doing these Bourboner videos of me like unboxing a video. And she's like, "Look at this idiot trying to unbox this thing with one hand." I'm like, "Okay, Nina." So I want to see David try to wrap a present with
one hand, holding my phone. That's fair.
Yeah.
It's pure retribution.
So you're lucky. We've got a couple of comments on Instagram, but they're not about you wrapping presents. We've got Travel Bar Brooklyn, who's actually in Columbus, Ohio tonight, celebrating their mom's 87th birthday. I didn't realize they were that close to me. And then Chris Haynes said, 2 of my favorite whiskey folks. And
Chris.
He means David and Brian. I hate to give Chris such a good compliment on air.
All right, these presents are going to wrap themselves. There's one.
Okay, 9 more to go.
I don't think this one counts, but S.
Michael Pinnell, take the keyboard away from your child. That's pretty funny.
Cool. Well, let's jump into it. For those joining us, we are on day 22 of the Advent calendar. This is Seelbach's Manifest Rye. We're joined with myself, Brian, as always, and David Cohen, who is the founder of Manifest Distilling, also the COO of Fine Familiar Spirits. And a lot to dive into with just those introductions alone. But David, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I feel honored. I think this is my first live tasting with you guys. I am, jokes aside, it's an honor, fellas.
Well, thank you. And I will remind those who may have watched the first episode or the first day that we did when it was me, Brian, and Emily. We talked a lot about, just what the Advent calendar was, why we did it, who all was a part of it, mighty few who did the design, the team at Liquid Ministry who did the bottles, like all great people. Like we had some unbelievable partners with this, and Manifest and their co-packing side of things, which is X-Pack. They did all the packaging and packing, filling of bottles, and they are the reason why this is to everybody tonight. So thank you for that. And if I start making jokes later, I at least wanted to get my actual thank yous out early because it wouldn't have happened without you and your team. And so that means a lot to us. So thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome. And I cannot say you're welcome without giving credit to the people. I can say I did not pack one of these bottles. So I can take, the only credit I can take is the fact that I have known you for such a long time. So massive props to our entire crew if I start naming people, I'm going to leave somebody out, but to everybody in the warehouse that does this day in and day out and meticulously filled these little 50 ml bastards and tucked them away in their hammocks
around the distillery is
yes.
Yeah, at least to Mike, because I think he may have even put on an actual sleeve shirt just for packing these all of the days tops. But
I think that I've seen at least one this season.
But no, for those joining us, we've got a long history with Manifest. So Dave and I have known each other since I feel like this is a fun kind of behind the scenes of where we are today. Probably 12, 14 years at this point. We've known each other, got connected before Manifest was a thing. I was helping as an accountant, doing some of the original like projections of what a craft distillery could look like. And, early on, like, I honestly don't think Seelbach is where it is today without David and Manifest, just because, I had somebody else in Jacksonville who was like, maybe this whiskey thing isn't as crazy as I thought. And I could send him random ideas and be like, well, what do you think about this? He's like, I don't know. We could probably figure it out. And, especially in those early days, I think just having somebody who is willing to jump in on the crazy ideas that turn out to be not so crazy and to randomly be like, hey, do you want to do a whiskey project together? Because I heard about these barrels who are floating out there.
Oh my God.
Bottling we ever did was the Manifest Whiskey Project, which the first one didn't even say Seelbach because Seelbach wasn't a thing at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is fun to kind of do these tastings, and we'll get into the tasting notes, but just to look back at how much has changed in the last, decade plus and where things have come. Because I mean, even for you to dive a little bit into your story, to start a distillery in, what would that have been, 2014?
2014 is when we opened our doors. So really it was like 2013, like idea making 2012, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's, people take that for granted these days because it's like, oh yeah, you're going to start a whiskey business. But back then it was still like, hold on, what are you going to do? And I always make the joke to people of like, I've got the classic entry into the spirits world where I was an accountant for 10 years, and that will make anyone want to drink. But David, he also has a classic story of, you make a Notorious B.I.G. documentary and then you decide to get into spirits.
I would say documentary filmmaking about hip hop personalities will also make you want to drink. I got it before. I'm happy to talk about that a little bit, but before we go into that, I think actually, Blake, our first project together was when I went to my very first, I think it was ADI show in Kentucky, and you had me meet this random couple in a hotel and pick up like 6 or 9 bottles of Pappy that like you somehow negotiated, and we're like, listen, can you just bring these back in your suitcase and I will work out the payment details. I met this random couple that told me like their life story in the lobby of this hotel to mule back. Do you still have any of those bottles, I wonder?
So I kind of forgot about that story, but that's actually an incredible one because those bottles were 2 of the first Pappies that were ever released. So they were Pappy before there was Pappy. So they were Van Winkle Family Reserve, and it's like distilled in 84, bottled in like probably 96. So like the Pappy Van Winkle line was not even a name by that point. And I met them online, and I was still doing the Bourboner blog, and was like, hey, if you're going to be in Kentucky, I don't want to ship these bottles. Could you bring them back? And you did. You brought them back, and I mean,
unbroken.
Yeah, crazy how much those bottles are worth now that I've sat on them for 10 plus years. And I remember going to your house, and I think it was your sister-in-law who was there. And she's like, hey, David told me to give these to you. I'm like, yeah, that's me. And
that's right. It's when Kara was still there.
Yeah. And I go to grab the bottle, and they still had like the tissue paper on the top. And literally one of the bottles almost slips out of my hand. They're like, just grab the top of the bottle. Right. And then like, don't worry, it didn't fall. We are good. And now I like see those bottles going for $20,000, $30,000. And I'm like, it is crazy. Just the amount of, well, one, like those deals don't exist anymore. But 2, that you were like, yeah, Blake, I've known for a little bit, sending me to a random hotel room to meet a couple. Yeah, I'll go do that for him.
Listen, man, we run deep. Those are some stories.
That is, yeah.
Look, if that couple is listening to this episode right now, next time you're in Louisville, I'll buy you a drink, okay? For your lot.
If you have any of those bottles left,
we will still take them at the price that Blake paid 11 years ago.
$500 per bottle for, Stitzel Weller from actually, that was probably even 70s. I need to go look. I still have them in my office downtown. I should have. That's what I should have brought to add on for the nightcap pour of tonight was that bottle right there.
That would have been very apropos.
You could bring it to the Christmas party. You could bring it out next time I'm in Jacksonville. I mean, all these are acceptable.
Yeah, really, anytime you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I think somebody even gave me a hard time when I told him what I got. He was like, "Hold on, you're telling me you came into my backyard got these bottles and brought them down to Jacksonville, Florida. And I'm like,
well, no, technically I had a guy meet the couple, so
Yeah.
it wasn't me, directly.
it wasn't. So blame David.
Right. It's my fault. It's
But
my
sweetest
fault.
ever, right? Like it wasn't some strange person off the internet. Like
No.
nice, and that's what I love about the bourbon world is you can just meet random strangers on the internet and have a great deal. They were happy to sell the bottles. I was happy to buy the bottles. David was happy to somewhat randomly be showing up and potentially be murdered.
You know,
So listen to
as
that,
you guys,
kids. Meeting strangers
as
on
you
the
guys well
internet,
know,
drinking is cool.
this industry is truly incredible with just the people in it. Whether you're a fan, a quote unquote aficionado, a producer, a brand. I mean, in general, I would say, I guess, short of some hasty conversations that happen in chat rooms with people, hating on each other. Short of that, people that are actually working in the industry, that are trying to make a living doing it, it's pretty shocking how just generous and kind and supportive people are. I'm sure you guys experience this working with brands day in and day out. I experience it working with other producers and other brands on the packing or contract distilling or it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. And it's like, certainly, I'm sure every industry you can go in and find some person who's just very negative about everything. But for the most part, like the whiskey business is a lot of great people willing to work together. And I think even Fred Minnick had a quote in his rum book where it's like, the Heaven Hill, whenever they had the fire, probably 95, 96-ish, all the distilleries in Bardstown came together, said, hey, we'll make production for you so you don't miss anything. It's like if the fire would have happened in the rum world, they would have been pouring gasoline on that fire.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show you, like, the whiskey world, it's a small world at the end of the day, and pretty much everyone's willing to help each other out, which is fun for us. I don't think
absolutely
Brian and David as well. Like, I don't think we know how to be that cutthroat person. And so we kind of like that world where you can be a good person, like go help each other out. Everybody builds together and it works out well.
Absolutely. Totally agree.
Which, so I know I made the joke about kind of how you got into this space, but
yeah,
you have a super cool story of how you got started and everything. What was the initial, like, hey, I want to move back to Jacksonville, your hometown, and start a craft whiskey distillery? What was that like?
So I didn't move back to start the distillery. So I moved back I lived in Los Angeles for about 10 years after college, was working in film production, like you mentioned, was actually working in hip hop documentaries amongst a few other things. And the whole real estate collapse happened. The whole Lehman Brothers financial crisis happened. Budgets for the size films we were making got pretty much shut down. You had to be making over $40 million a year films or like under $500,000 budgets. And we were in between. We were like 1 to 5 million or so. And so that I was out there for 10 years at that point. I was paying, this was in 2008. 2008 probably. I was paying almost $2,000 a month for like a 2-bedroom apartment in the Valley. And I was like, where is this going? Like, what am I, I think I just burnt out on it. I'd been in the career my whole life, in film, since I was a kid. So I moved back. I was like, you know what, whatever. I'm going to move back home. I'll figure out something to do. I helped a buddy start a publishing company, moved back to Jacksonville. Him and I kind of split ways. He kept doing what he was doing. And I had this burning desire to do something in hospitality and or tourism. I was raised in that environment. My grandfather has a long history in hospitality and tourism down in Aruba. And I saw what craft beer was doing. This was like 2010, I guess. Which was it at least in Florida, we were on the front edge of the craft beer boom. Like out west, it was happening already. It was like right when Intuition had opened. Bold City opened a couple years before that. So we're in the beginning of that in Jacksonville. I was like, man, if craft beer is doing this, craft beers I think is going to follow suit. So, did my research, looked into permitting, licensing, went to the Seelbach Institute, took their fermentation science course up in Goose Island in Chicago. Did a little small internship at Koval Distilling, and then did one at Kentucky Artisan, which is now they were purchased by, help me out here, Jefferson's.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So Jefferson's bought Kentucky. What's that?
Contract stuff for them. I knew Jefferson's always done a lot of their contract stuff at KD. Yeah, I guess that makes sense why they would purchase them. I feel like I should know this information. It all kind of
I mean, it was this guy. I think his name was Steve. I don't remember his last name. He's an interesting veteran. I think he's passed away. I went up to Trip Stimson was their master distiller at the time, and that's how I met Trip. And then Trip helped us. He actually commissioned all of our equipment at Manifest.
Spirits.
And I met Joe. Joe was doing all his bottling there at the time. And I sat in on a barrel tasting, not knowing what that brand was, not knowing what it was going to be, obviously. We did a barrel tasting in like the attic of KAD, which was a cool experience. And and then so we came back, raised some money. I met enough people like Blake where I was like, hey, should I do this? And people were like, yeah, you should definitely do it. And so, all right, cool, let's do it. So we raised some money. And,
where I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds amazing. Yeah, you should definitely.
You're definitely going to make lots of money. Do it. Definitely do it. Here we are, man. Almost 10 years later.
Which I think what's really cool about Manifest is, there's always the Kentucky people. Hey, we're going to make bourbon. We're going to do this and that. And you took a different approach of like, want to focus on rye. We want to be organic certified, want to do all these different things. And that's what I've always loved. And I mean, I think it was one of the first barrel picks we ever did on Seelbach's site was one of the ryes. And I still will have people ask me to this day, maybe Chris Haynes, he definitely prods me for this one, but he's like, you got any more of that first barrel pick you did from Manifest? I'm like,
yeah.
It's gone. But to go make organic rye, it is a different mash bill where it's 60% rye, 40%, not what we're tasting tonight, but in general, it was 60% rye, 40% or wheat. That's not a popular one. It's like, this is what we think is good. This is what we like, and we're going to make this. And I think it's a fun thing, especially because it's like, certainly you could have just gone and sourced from a couple different distilleries and tried to call it craft, but it's like, no, we want to make true craft whiskey. And if you like it, wonderful. If you don't like it, it's not for everyone. We're not making boatloads of it anyways. And I've always appreciated that, like just kind of sticking with this kind of what you do. And I feel like it's really expanded too, because now, I mean, the citrus vodka is still one of my favorite products that y'all have. And even like what's the pink label? The Florida Gin or
the Florida Botanical Gin.
Florida Botanical Gin, where it's like just bringing in like, okay, what is Florida really about and good at?
Right.
And I think that it adds something to the product whenever you're drinking it and trying it.
Yeah.
But
I think the thing that we, you touched on this a little bit, but we saw a lot of, there was a lot of history in American bourbon specifically. And what was happening in the whiskey industry was very based on that. People digging up, Nelson's Greenbrier, I think wasn't even open. And like that story came about, in our early days, I think, if I'm remembering their timeline correctly, I could be wrong, but there was a lot of that story, right? Like they unearthed the recipe. It was a family recipe. It was a lot of that stuff happening, and no slight against that at all. But it was like, well, let's take a completely different approach. And, I always liked rye whiskey. It's fitting today. We're tasting, 100% rye. But I love that it was kind of a little bit of the forgotten soldier of the whiskey world, and that it was really America's first whiskey. It was before bourbon. It was the prevalent grain at the time. It was in excess. There was no subsidy around rye as a grain, so it didn't really stick when it was first made. And I kind of liked that underdog story. And personally, I like to drink it. I like the spicier nature of it. So really, we wanted to focus on that, and we wanted to focus on our gins because we felt like as a craft distiller, that was one place we could put our fingerprint on something. Like, it's really hard to put your fingerprint on vodka. It's really hard to put your fingerprint on whiskey without taking a copious amount of time. So that was kind of what gin was for us. And then like you touched on, out of that burst the citrus vodka, which is, truly, I think one of the cooler things we make, just because of its unique nature. But it's created a kind of a diverse portfolio.
Which the citrus vodka, I'll never forget going to like the first production of that. And when you think citrus vodka, certainly there's some out there, and whiskey people will be like, oh, it's vodka, how different can it be? And then there's like a team of 10 people on manual hand pressing all this, like basically a trailer full of citrus shows up at the distillery. People are cutting it by hand, pressing it by hand. Then you're going and adding the citrus to the still, or to the gin basket essentially, to make it. And you're like, okay, I'm now drinking a vodka orange juice with the juice from the rinds that were used to make this vodka. And I'm like, this is a very cool thing. Like,
it was like the most craft you could get in a flavored vodka package. And luckily we are no longer cutting fruit. We found a juice processor to work with that we happily take what would be their discards, and we take that off their hands and truck it up to Jacksonville. Still all Florida fruit, still a product of Florida, but get those rinds brought up, saves it as a waste product for them, and then obviously we get to reuse it in the process. But definitely a labor of love, not cheap. A lot of loss with that, but it's really cool. It's a really unique product.
Well, and that's where I know where Brian is going, which is like, why have I not been offered a screwdriver at 10 a.m. when we show up to the distillery?
Dude, you say the word. You say the word. Just say, screw you, pal, and I got you.
I like that.
Yeah, and that's where I think it is really cool how y'all have evolved, because even now with like the co-packing side of things. So for those who don't know, if you look on the back of any Seelbach's Private Reserve bottle, it'll say bottled by Manifest Distilling, Jacksonville, Florida. So Manifest does all of our co-packing, and it started from bringing in a couple barrels to moving into a bigger warehouse to then moving into, what's X-Packs now? 40,000 square feet ish.
X-Pack is so we have an offsite storage facility that is essentially the home of X-Pack, which stands for expansion packaging, which is our packaging arm. We have 40,000 square foot of storage, bonded storage.
And my face is not on the wall just yet of like, don't let this guy in.
Have you heard the rumors recently? Blake is known behind the scenes. Blake is known as the mayor of 10th Street. That's what we all call him when he's not there. So there may be a plaque in your future, my friend.
100%. I can only hope, because I joke around and I'm like, you hit a point in the day where you're like, okay, I've got to take a break. And my break is to continue act like I'm working, to go over to the 10th Street and start pulling samples and coming up with blends. And that's where some of my best ideas come from. And they're like, you're here again? I'm like, yeah, I'm working. Don't tell anyone I'm here. And
well, listen, 10th Street is quite the small evolution for however many people are 1, 2, 3, 4 people, however people are watching. I'm shocked that Nina hasn't jumped on to start giving me crap yet. That's going to happen any moment. Nina's my wife, by the way, which Blake lovingly mentioned earlier. So before 10th Street, we started running out of space at Manifest, and we brought on a much smaller warehouse at 9th Street, which was the previous facility. And when we moved out of there, which was a year ago now, basically, it was last December when we moved out. I am astounded at how much stuff we packed into those 2 warehouses. It blows my mind that the amount, and we couldn't move. We were on top of each other. Like, if you had to go in and get something, you had to pull 15 pallets out with a 45, 50-year-old forklift that maybe worked some days, maybe didn't. There was quite a lot of adventures in that parking lot.
There has been, quite a lot of adventures in that parking lot. Barrels rolling off of a trailer, busting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There was a delivery driver who took out the power lines because he didn't want to wait. A lot of fun ones. I feel like
a lot of fun.
I feel like this needs its own episode just to recount some of those fun
just the history, like 10 years, 10 years of working together.
That is brought. But so for what we're drinking tonight, so for those listening, drinking along, 100% rye, made completely at Manifest in Jacksonville, Florida, downtown. If you're coming in for the Gator Bowl Saturday, feel free to stop by for a drink.
Yep.
First round is on Seelbach's if you mention Seelbach's Advent Calendar. And
hey.
Of course, we had a bunch of random people saying Seelbach's Advent Calendar, asking for free drinks.
I told them no.
But no, I think this is it's extremely cool, like to have a rye whiskey, because how does this probably...
I was actually pulling the specs on this while we were talking. So our rye is 100% organic rye grain. Rye is one of those things that we wanted to be. Like when we opened, this was like the burgeoning of farm to table, like that movement. So of course we wanted to be as hyper local as we could get. Rye grain is one of those things that just does not grow well in Florida. There is a varietal called black rye that does grow in Florida. When we first started, I don't know of it being commercially grown. I don't think it was. But the fact that we were organic kicked us out of the ability of being able to use it. So we were forced to use a co-op. So a lot of this rye ended up coming from like Minnesota, Canada, some other parts of the Midwest. We sourced from a few different producers, but we didn't use any malted grains. We used enzymes only. But what we're drinking today is actually 6 years, 4 months. So it's a one of our older barrels. This was distilled in, June of 2019. Or that's when the barrel was laid down, which means we were laying stuff up pretty quickly after we distilled it back then. This was our 55th barrel filled in 2019.
Yeah, which and what I love about y'all's whiskey is it's like you're thinking 100% rye, and there's a big spice note. You get that, you expect it, but like it also just has this like, I don't even know what the word is, but like really good oak influence. It gets some of that pot stilly kind of, just heavier congeners and good question from Benjamin there. But like you get all the things, like it's just a big, bold whiskey at the end of the day. And this would have been 30-gallon barrels or 53.
Let me
too deep into the system here, but
let me look. And to answer Benjamin's question, malt, to me, I can pick up malt even in small amounts. And at that, I have come to have a different appreciation for malt now. But when we first started, I was really turned off by it for whatever reason. I think I tried some malted whiskeys back in the day from some craft producers that shall not be named that really just turned me off. And I was like, we're not using malted grain. So I think that was the choice to use enzymes. Looking into it now, I mean, I would even consider playing around with it because I think it is an interesting choice. Yeah, it looks like this was a 30-gallon barrel. Like,
interesting. And that's the
which we used all 30 on that note. So when we filled 20 barrels at Koval before we opened, and those 20 barrels and we did that to jumpstart so we could focus on the vodkas and gins right when we opened. So we laid those up and we did all 30 gallons. Because at the time, the school of thought was like, all right, listen, more barrel contact surface area, we're going to get aging quicker. What we didn't know and now know about aging in the South, and particularly in North Florida, is a super high humidity for 9 months out of the year, pretty inclement weather in terms of heat. You end up getting, it can be an over oaking effect. And the smaller the barrel, I mean, you really risk that. I'm actually shocked how well this is drinking at 6 years.
Yeah.
I would have guessed it would have been far more oak heavy. For me, I'm getting like a lot of like spearmint, which I haven't tasted. I haven't visited this in a while, but yeah, it's tasting very different from how I remember it last.
I feel like because of the age and because of the rye content, I think this would be a fun one for people who are watching to put up against like a Kings County, because you're doing multiple things. That's 80-20. So then you get to see something that's got a pretty substantial malt content, but they're also really far away from each other, location wise, but yet they still, I think, have a very similar like intensity of like that peppery and spearmint kind of bite to it as well. They just showcase themselves. Again, I think it's be interesting for like someone to do a side by side to notice the similarities as well as the differences.
That's 80-20 malted rye and wheat, or I'm sorry, malted rye and wheat. Yeah.
Let me look this up so I'm not lying. I think that they're 20. I think it's 80% rye, 20% malted barley.
Interesting.
That's on this. I always get like this super interesting like charred pineapple note, and I don't know why it is. But there's something about those kind of like tropical fruits that are slightly charred that I always off the 100% rye. And
yeah, 80% New York grown rye and 40% malted barley.
20%.
40%?
Yeah, 80.
That's an amazing mash bill.
80-20.
Brian got into the samples a little earlier, and
I told you I started 40 minutes before you guys got on here. So this is
120% grain. We should make a bottle that's 120% grain.
That's kind of one of those things that popped up on last night's tasting of like finishing something in a barley wine barrel, and he's like, you call it, 90%. 90-10. Yeah. No, you said 90-20. It was something that was over 100. Oh, you said 90.
Oh, 95, 95-10.
95-10. Just, it's like, because it finished in
I'm here for it.
A barley wine barrel. See, and that's the problem is now tomorrow I'm going to be like, hey, David, you know what we talked about last night? Could we still do that?
We've got to do it.
Yeah.
It's one of those, was it 65% of that works? 65% of the time works all the time?
That's on the palate is where I get the charred pineapple.
And I think it's still rye because our 60-40, which is our black label rye, we make 2 ryes. The 60-40 for me, I get even more of that charred pineapple, which is interesting. I always attribute it to the wheat, but I see. I mean, I do taste it in this. It's not as prevalent as our 60-40 recipe, but it must be from the rye.
Yeah,
Blake, you know what this rye needs? It needs a Korean barbecue finish to it. Is what it needs.
that
really
was,
draw that pineapple out.
I didn't want to bring this up right now, Brian. I've got to prep David on a few more drinks, but last night we had West Fork on, and he said they did a Korean barbecue finish where he said a guy locally made a Korean barbecue sauce that he loved. So they dumped a barrel, put it in stainless, sent the barrel off, let him age his Korean barbecue sauce in the barrel for like
What?
4 to 6 months, and then sent the barrel back and put the whiskey back into that same barrel. And I'm like,
Smoky
okay,
Samurai Barbecue just joined on Instagram. So Smoky Samurai Barbecue, I don't know who you are, but if you make
If you make a
Smoky
homemade
Samurai
barbecue sauce,
we want to talk to you. Okay.
well, that's
I thought we were gonna do like a bulgogi washed bourbon.
ooh,
Okay, come on now. Come on.
now we're talking. I feel like, well, that's kind of the fun thing. Jacksonville has not been historically known as like a maker's place, but it's come a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Coffee with bold bean and haymaker and flamingo, all these other great coffee makers. I'm sure there's got to be a sauce maker somewhere. Not just Daedal pepper.
Yeah, who was the Daedal pepper guy? That was it Danny? What was his name? That made that hot sauce. You remember what I'm talking about? He was around for a couple years. He worked with Scott up at Congaree and Penn a bunch.
Oh, okay.
And he grew. He actually was growing all the daddle down in St. Augustine. And he made a great hot sauce. And he had kids. Yeah, man, what was his name? This is terrible. I can't remember it. But his sauce was awesome. I don't know if he's still making it.
I mean, not to like spoiler alert, but David also connected me to a chocolate maker here in Jacksonville who we took an Amburana barrel, gave it to them to then age cocoa nibs in, and they're going to make a chocolate bar out of it.
Well, you didn't tell me that you did this.
I've told you this before. I sent you pictures from their cafe.
You had their bars, but I didn't know you actually brought the barrels up. When are they going to make it? When are they going to do the thing?
Oh, it's in there. The cocoa nibs are in there right now.
Is it a Brazilian? Is it a Brazilian cacao in there?
Now you're asking me details that I gloss over very quickly. I'm sure they told me, but to do like a chocolate Amburana finish. So we're trying to rival.
This is a great chocolate maker. I don't know if you're not disclosing their name for any purpose other than a reveal. Yeah, so it's. I always say Macanou.
Okay, I was gonna say Macanou, but I kind of forget what they called it. But Macanou makes incredible chocolate.
Yeah, it's Makenu. Two really super talented. They have an awesome little coffee cafe and chocolate bar in Atlantic Beach. Their chocolates are just phenomenal.
And the problem is, whenever I try to tell Brian about these crazy new fun projects, he wants details, and he's like, "Are they doing Brazilian? Are they?" I'm like, "Brian,
how dare you?"
I'm the one who came up with this idea. That's why I'm just letting out the details to see if you've botched it or not. All right.
Well, Brian wanted me to send barrels to Dick Taylor, which is in Ohio, I think.
No, they're in California. I want to say they're in Berkeley, but I might be wrong. They're old. David, so look, I'm sure Macanou's great.
David is the person to ask for these questions.
I'd love to try them, but so the reason why I thought about Dick Taylor is because one, they have a Brazilian cacao, which lines up with Amburana. Two, they do a barrel-aged bar. And I'm like, well, if there's anyone who wouldn't F it up, it'd be someone who already does a barrel-aged bar. Because I'm not looking for a boozy chocolate. I just thought that if you got the essence of the Amburana, which already makes whiskey taste wacky, right? It just would aid in a confection like pure single origin bar, and it would win all the good food awards. That's all. I just wanted an award-winning chocolate.
Brian, I think it's a great idea. No matter what Blake says, I think it's a great idea.
Blake, I don't know if Blake even knows this, but I collaborated on 2 good food award-winning coffee chocolate bars. This is one that's no coffee involved. I just think it has all the signs of being an excellent chocolate bar. And if Macanou can make it,
what are you going to do with the barrel?
You know what I'm saying?
So we're going to take the barrel back and put bourbon back into it. So then it's a chocolate finished Amburana.
You are okay.
bourbon.
Hey, did you just say Maca do it?
I said,
Did
if
you make
I
a
said
joke?
If yeah,
I want to make him McAdoo it.
Yeah, I thought that. I mean, that was really funny, and I stepped on it. And now I feel awful because I think it was
No,
a
okay.
good dad joke. Damn it!
I was pretty happy with it.
Did you, is that what you
I ruined it. I ruined it.
But I feel like, well, because Brian also gets the credit for the idea of putting green coffee beans into an omelet barrel, and that was what we did with Bold Bean here locally.
Yep.
And I kind of go back and forth. I'm like, are people going to be into this? Are they going to want the coffee? Like, I've never sold coffee before. Is this, and those coffee bags flew faster than anything else. Like the bottles were somewhat still there, and the coffee was gone. And that was
we just did, Brian, you'll appreciate this, not talking about whiskey at all for a minute, but we did, there's a farm that a family friend of all of ours that we've become close with over the years. It's up near the Okefenokee Swamp at the Georgia border, and they have I don't know, a couple hundred acres. They're developing this really cool property. But when they bought it, they found a bunch of this heirloom native grown sugarcane that was growing wild on the property. Wasn't super healthy, but then they found that there's a long history in the area of people pressing and basically moonshining rum near the Okefenokee Swamp. So the guy went in, he's got a farming background, cultivated this origin, this cultivar, this type of cane, has been working on it the past 5 years. So we just went up there and pressed 5 or 6 acres of cane and did an agricole rum, all right at the Florida-Georgia line. Turned out super cool, super green and funky, and laid some of it up. And so that'll be a fun one for us to all check in on in a year or two.
Unique.
Yeah.
And it's called Florida-Georgia Line Rum. And Florida-Georgia Line is going to reunite over. No, and I will say, like, and this was probably a few years ago, but it wasn't even from that same producer of the sugar cane, but y'all were producing a rum a while back, and I remember the guys were like, "Oh, just smell this." I'm like, "Oh, is that some sort of Jamaican? It's funkier, it's unique."
Yeah.
Like, no, this is sugar cane that we got in, pressed, and it just is crazy, like how much funky, like dunder style rum that you can get out of different types of fermentation and everything else, and it is really good. So I'm excited for
pretty wild.
I feel like that could be 4 to 5 years from now. We take one of those barrels, we dump it. We have the first ever Bikey's Blue Corn finished rum barrel. And
yeah.
Let's go.
That would be
That's going to be 5 years from now. That's going to be our rum advent calendar.
Oh, now we're talking.
Here we go.
Now, the advent calendar has given us so many good ideas, because I'm like, we could do a rum one, we could do an American single malt, we could do this and that. And I'm like, we may die trying to do all these live streams.
Hey, I like it.
But the one project,
or we'll all be single, and our children will have left us, and we'll be destitute.
Never get wrapped at that rate.
No,
not happening. I know we're going a little long, which I kind of assumed this one would. So it's been a lot of fun. But the one project that we did together that I wanted to at least mention was in I got to go back and look. 2021, we did a single barrel for the Jaguars' first home playoff game in so long. It is a single barrel release for the Jaguars' Duval Till We Die on the label. And it's looking like we need a repeat of that this year.
I know.
Some of those same
Remember
barrels.
didn't we do the teal wax top?
Well, no.
We were cracking the bottle outside.
We did the black wax top. And then
that's right.
We were drizzling it with gold wax to look like tiger stripe. And I got nervous, and I'm like, I don't know, like wax is not going to look amazing. Like, let's do half tiger or jaguar striped. Well, it's not. It's half striped, half non-striped.
Yeah.
And the stripes sold out. so fast. And I'm like,
Yes.
guys, I was wrong. This was not.
We may need to push one of those through. I mean, it's looking like that kind of season, fellas.
Barrel left of that original release, and then I think I have three or four more barrels from that same lot that are ready to go.
There's some of that same barrel left?
Yeah.
How old is it now?
It's 8 years old. So yeah, that was probably 4 years ago. I still have a picture of my son where we pull up at Manifest, have a great tailgate, sold the bottles. And my son's like, why are you bringing me to a distillery to tailgate before a football game? And he's like sitting on my truck eating a hamburger.
I remember that. We were all eating meat off the grill with our fingers.
we know
that was a good memory.
How to tailgate and how to come up with crazy ways to sell whiskey.
Oh my gosh. That was pretty good. I like that.
That is our goal for 2025 into 2026 of we've got to have the revitalization or revival of the Jaguars playoff bottle. I feel like that's actually what helped them come back on the Chargers from down 21-3 or something.
Yeah.
I feel like they knew about that bottle that we released and didn't want to let us down.
I mean, listen, stranger things have happened. Like this season, for example.
Yeah, exactly. Like the last 7 weeks in the Jaguars' history. So, Brian, I feel like you probably need to blend barrels and sample barrels around the same time. And even as a Bengals fan, I feel like we probably have hit on this. Where are you at in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, we tried to follow the Bengals a long time ago, and it didn't really work. We don't really have a. I mean, like we were joking with Emily earlier, I have no football affinity.
Oh, so I heard Jaguars is what I heard.
Yep, that's what I'm hearing too. Sounds like we got room here for you.
Yeah, which I feel like we've bounced around a lot on this one. But with Manifest and X-Pac, you also do a bunch of other brands, and FFS being a big part of that. And would love to kind of talk about that for a second. I know we're going long. I feel like all of our wives are going to be texting us shortly of like, are you coming home? Are you
where are you?
And but no, I think it's a really incredible space that y'all are now branching into, where it's like, hey, you've got a big audience, you've got a bunch of whiskey people, we can have really great whiskey released to your audience. And I think on the celebrity side, you see a lot of people who are just kind of like, oh, I'll go slap my name on a label. And y'all have had some really cool ones who come along. It's like, no, these are actual whiskey people who want to put a good product out with a backstory, with a whole narrative going on. And so on that FFS side, what's happening with all of that?
Yeah, I mean that's been a crazy story. I mean that's another part of our story, Blake. I mean you threw me into that. Hey, these guys want to do this thing. No idea who these people were. Blake said, just set up a call with them. Still no idea. We set up a call. I should have done some research going into it. I didn't, but I ended up hopping on the call and
how popular everyone was on that call. And
yeah, so I hop on the call and it's it was obviously Justin Ware, who's one of the co-founders, and then Matthew Lillard, who's the celebrity co-founder behind it. And we had a great call. We hit it off, obviously, really well. Manifest took on X-Pac. X-Pac was actually born out of that relationship, working with them, and obviously it's kind of a joint venture. But their story has been phenomenal. I mean, the whiskey world is at a place where consumption is lower than it has been, but their stuff continues to do really well. And I think what makes them so unique is that they have targeted audiences and fandoms in a very organic manner that aren't really spoken to. I mean, they're going after the TTRPG world and the Dungeons and Dragons fans and the horror genres, which obviously Matthew has a very deep connection to from his history. He's a huge Dungeons and Dragons guy. He has another company called Beatles and Grimm that makes super high end game kits for dungeon masters. And then obviously his history in the horror film genre. And so we find a way to make these things, and they're super authentic. And there's letters, or there's books, or there's stories, or there's this gamification to it. And we've found an audience of people that aren't really being spoken to in that way. They're not being marketed to from like the spirit space. So it's fun because you're introducing people that, for the most part, in a lot of ways, aren't experienced drinkers. Like a lot of people are buying it for the story, or for the celebrity behind it, or the branding, or the books, or the dice, or whatever it is that comes with it. So that's pretty cool too, from like a whiskey impact standpoint. Educating people. This season with them, we've really pushed the boundaries of what we're releasing, in the sense that, we've done American single malts, we've done stuff from Arizona, from California, from Ohio. We have 2 more left in this upcoming season, which carries into 26, but we've got an Irish whiskey coming out. We've got this Solera barrel situation happening. So it's been fun. It's been a pretty wild ride. As you've got a front seat for it. I mean, it's interesting to see this demand. You've got a couple of worked with a couple of celebrity brands on your side. I'm sure it's always interesting to see how those things play through, right?
Yeah. No, we see it a decent amount. I won't say like we see a ton of it, but Matt and Justin, like, they obviously have an incredible following, but it's always interesting to see, like, do these people care about the whiskey? And it does feel like on their side, like, they care about the story, they care about the whiskey, like they want to make sure all of those things are lined up. And that makes it even more exciting from our side, because we come at it just from a pure whiskey standpoint of like exciting, and they do an incredible job about really balancing those two sides of like, we want the whiskey to be incredibly exciting, and we also want the story to be exciting. We want the packaging to be exciting. And so it is fun to see, and I don't know if you know this, but Brian actually has a history in gaming and has also sent me a lot of ideas of how he's like, if we don't have Blake trying to be explained how to play Dungeons and Dragons by Matthew Lillard or one of the team members.
When the project first went live, I told Blake. So I used to make board games before doing coffee, before doing this, and I told Blake, I was like, Blake, well, obviously for the marketing, we need to have Matt teach you how to play Dungeons and Dragons, because you are the least likely person to ever do this. And I think he purposely never brought this up. Matt,
with the comb over wearing a polo, but
the most recent missed opportunity, David, I should just message you directly, because the most recent was that, I was in Orlando for Halloween Horror Nights, and they had the 5 Nights at Freddy house. And I was like, I should have reached out and seen if we can get Matt Lillard to come, because there were a bunch of celebrities that were from the different IPs that you would catch on various nights that were just walking through the houses. And I was like, well, he should have done that. But not only that, but they had Terrifier, and you guys had the Ice 9 Kills release. And I was like, this was an enormous missed opportunity for me to not reach out to you on both the Ice 9 push with Terrifier and just for Matt to be there. I was like, I really messed up. But I'm sure there'll be like some sort of Comic-Con or something coming up soon, and we could, review it.
We have a pretty stacked event schedule. We're doing a bunch of. There's a. We'll get together offline about it. There's one actually in South Florida. I think it's called Scaradise now. It's down in Tampa. It used to be called Spookala. That we're going to, and we'll be vending at that show actually. But yeah, Brian, we should get together about that. What's funny is the amount of people at FFS. We have one other co-founder, which is Tim Sparapani from Blue Run, that was involved with them. So I'm adding him into this mix. The amount of people who have never played Dungeons and Dragons at the company is actually pretty high, myself included. This was the devil's game. Like, my parents wouldn't let me touch it growing up. So we keep trying to find an opportunity to do like a one shot. It would be good to have you guys in on that.
Oh, that'd be so much fun.
Brian is 100% in on that, but I'm like, Brian, like, if I even mention the name Dungeons and Dragons,
You can be a cleric, Blake. It's fine. You're like
I
completely
don't even
safe.
know what a cleric is, but my parents would have
You could
sent
be it.
me to be like, have the devil removed from me.
Full exorcism.
Just, full exorcism.
That's on like the 10th. That's like on the 10th time we get together, the exorcism happens. I mean, if the dungeon master decides. I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
Right, we got to get you comfortable. You got to settle into it so you're caught off guard.
That's my problem. If Brian starts saying these things to me, I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. Like, is this a game?
I got to order this guy a dice set for Christmas.
No,
There's still enough time for me to get one sent to you, right? I bet there is.
Although I will say, my boys are into trading cards and all these other things. So we go to this gaming shop by our house, and they've got the full-on gaming tables in the back. It's all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a fish out of water walking in, and one of the kids is only looking for like Pokemon cards. One of them's only looking for these other cards, and they're like, I see they have all these dice, and I'm like, hey, do y'all have any Dispel dice? And they're like, well, it's we don't carry them, but we have these other dice. Why do you want Dispel? I'm like, and one of my sons goes, y'all carry Seelbach bourbon? I'm like, okay, calm down.
You didn't think through that question, did you? Somebody asked you, why do you want that?
We have these dice coming through the site on this other site, and now my 7-year-old is questioning you, why do you not carry Seelbach bourbon? And I'm like, I appreciate the fact that you're putting 2 and 2 together of what your dad does.
Oh my God.
Great lady working this card shop has no clue what is going on right now.
That's so funny.
Poor woman.
But they could. I think we're on to something. They could.
I think they could. They definitely could serve alcohol, and they should have FFS
craft whiskey and Pokemon shop. I think has a promising future.
Strong.
Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for joining. I know we're at an hour, and we are sanctioned for 30 minutes. So I knew this one
silence this, David. Can't let it happen.
Could go even longer. But
yeah, I'm not one to cut us off.
Everyone for joining us tonight. It's going to be a back green room that I think may continue with even more conversation, but really fun way to kind of close out our last live tasting of the Seelbach Advent Calendar. And as I was reminded, as I've joked before, I'm going to go live on Christmas Eve. I probably will not be going live on Christmas Eve, but we will have another review for that to kind of close things out for the year. But for everyone who joined us, really appreciate it. David, thank you so much for all the things. And I will just say all the things, not just as like a coverall, but been super important for everything that I've done personally and with Seelbach, the Advent Calendar. So greatly appreciate it.
You bet.
Yeah.
It's an honor to be on. We have a lot of fun. I'm thankful for this partnership. Thanks for bringing us on. Thanks for having us in the Advent Calendar. This was fun to be a part of. So it's always good to chat with you guys. I'd do it anytime.
Absolutely.
A reminder to folks who are tuning in who didn't taste through, if you tasted the Advent Calendar, there's a QR code that is in the book where you can find that, and you can look at other manifest projects. If you're just tuning in live and you made it an hour and 3 minutes in, first off, I applaud you. I would play a game of D&D with you. And second of all, this link that's up here in the corner, you can scan that QR code. It will take you to the Seelbach Advent Calendar page where you can browse this rye as well as other products that were in the Advent Calendar. So go there and look through all the other manifest products that we have on the site on Seelbach.
And I would buy the Florida Botanical Gin as well as the rye if you're looking to add 2 bottles, because the citrus vodka and the botanical gin are 2 of my favorites. So if I could give a recommendation, that would be it. So yeah.
Agreed.
We will see you on live Christmas Eve, and but we will also be in your inbox 5 days a week. So it's the Seelbach is like, now we sign off on live tasting. Yeah, we'll probably send you an email tomorrow at 3 p.m. So thank you everyone, and have a good night.
Happy holidays.